and welcome back to Sustainable Teacher. If it is your first time here, my name is Leticia and I'm glad to meet you. And if you've been here before, I'm happy to see you again. In today's video, we will keep going with this unit about human body organization, talking about cell differentiation and tissues. So if this video sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Cell differentiation is a process that happens in every cell in the body. So when we are embryos, our cells have the ability to become any type of cell in our body. What will happen is during the embryonic development, the genetic information is the same in all the cells, okay? But depending on the area of the body that cell is found, the genetic information that cell will use is different. So if the cell is in the head area, maybe it will become a brain cell. So it will take the genetic information of how to become a brain cell. If it is in the arm, maybe it will become a bone cell, okay? So it will participate in the bone tissue. That's the process of cell differentiation, and it will change in shape and in structure mainly. Here you can see some examples of differentiated cells. For instance, red blood cells, they become like a disc. The shape is of a disc, it's not round anymore. Why? Because this way the surface of the cell is bigger and is easier to transfer, to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide from the blood to the lungs. Okay, that's why. And also blood cells, the red blood cells, they lose their nucleus when they are mature, so they have more space to store oxygen inside. Neurons are the brain cells, so they need to connect as many neurons as possible to transfer the information in the fastest way. So they have a lot of ramifications to help to make these connections. Or for instance, the spermatozoids, they have the head and a long flagellum, because it's just one, to help the spermatozoid move to find an ovule to fertilize, okay? So these are three examples of differentiated cells from the original round basic animal eukaryotic cell. What happens when those differentiated cells get together? They become a tissue, and with these emergent properties, the tissue together will have a function that the cells alone didn't have. So we can classify the tissues depending on their function in 5 big groups. First group is epithelial tissue. That's it, the skin or kind of covers in the organs inside, okay? We have connective tissue. They are tissues that connect different parts of the body. Could be cartilaginous, could be bone, could be fat tissue. We will see them specifically later. Muscle tissue, okay? I said 5. Why it's 4? Well, muscle tissue is the tissue that join bones to help them move, because bones alone can't move, okay? And nervous tissue is all the tissue related with the nervous system. It could be neurons, it could be nerves. We will see them later. Epithelial tissues are tissues that covers things. The skin, for instance, that covers our body, or they can cover internal areas of our body, like an organ, to individualize it inside our body. They usually have this protective function, so they protect the organ, the skin, from the elements, the environment, okay? But they can also have a secretory function. That means that they can excrete, they can secrete substances that could be interesting for us. For instance, sweat. Sweat, when we sweat through our skin, we are releasing, for instance, toxins that we don't want anymore. Or for instance, the saliva that is secreted in the salivary glands, they will help to the digestion function, okay? So we have these two sides. Usually the common one we can think of, the protective function or the secretory function. Both are performed by the epithelial tissue. We can find very simple epithelial tissues with just one layer of cells. For instance, in some part of the digestive system where absorption is performed, or we can find epithelial tissues, usually those covering or lining epithelial tissues with more than one layer of cells to have a better protection properties or function. Okay, so we can find just one or more than one layers in the covering or lining epithelia. They are also called lining epithelia. And the other epithelia, the secretory epithelia, can have also the name of glandular epithelial, because the cells that are specialized in secreting those substances are called glands. Well, the organs and the cells inside they are called glands. So that's why it receives the name of glandular epithelium. So those were the epithelial tissues. Let's talk now about the connective tissues. They are also really common, and I'm sure you know them. So they are used to connect different parts of our body. It could be to connect organs together, because our organs are not floating inside our body, it's really compact inside. Or it could be to connect bones, to muscles. It could be used to connect cells. How? With blood, because you know that blood transports oxygen and nutrients and also waste from the cells to the lungs or to the kidneys. Okay, so blood is considered a tissue even if it is liquid, because it connects cells around the body. So let's see one each of these tissues and their functions. Okay, so the first one is the conjunctive tissue or reticular connective tissue. Okay, is the tissue we can find under the skin and joining all the epithelia inside our body to our organs. It's like a glue. Okay, so in this picture is this light pink tissue we can see here. On the top there is skin, which is more purple, right? This is the skin. The layer underneath the skin is the conjunctive tissue that connects the skin to the organ or the structure in the body. The adipose tissue is the tissue that stores fat, lipids. Okay, so the cell is this white round thing, and the nucleus is just in one corner of the cells. All the cell is specialized in storing lipids, storing fat, to protect organs, for thermal function, for energetic, like a store of energy. They could have different functions, okay? So these cells are called adipocytes and they store fats, lipids. The cartilaginous tissue is the one that is in the edge of bones, connecting between two bones. They are like cushions, right? To prevent two bones to have like big impacts. For instance, when we run, we use the cartilages on our knees to minimize the impact between the femur and the tibia and fibula, right? So that is the cartilaginous tissue. Then we have the bone tissue. Bones, they are made of cells, okay? And they form bones. We have different types. We could have like long bones or short bones, or we can have round bones or flat bones mainly, but they are all made of bone tissue. And finally, the blood, even if you don't think of blood because it's liquid, kind of liquid as a tissue, it is, because the definition of tissue is lots of cells that work together to have a new function that just one cell didn't have. And that connects, in the case of the connective tissue, that connects one part of the body with another. And the blood cells do these things. They work together, they have a new function together, and they connect cells in the body. So we have red blood cells like this one. Okay, they are specialized in transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide, and also we have white blood cells, more related with the immune system. There are different types. Depending on the shape of the nucleus, they will have one function or another, but in the end they are all related with the immune function. The third type of tissue is muscle tissue. Is the tissue that is inside our muscles. We have three types of muscles. The skeletal striated muscle tissue is the tissue inside the muscle we can move voluntarily. If we want to move, for instance, our head, we are using skeletal striated muscle tissue. We have a very special type of skeletal striated tissue in our heart, so it's called the cardiac striated muscle tissue. What is the difference? The skeletal will move the bones, the skeleton, so our locomotory system. Okay, the cardiac striated tissue will only move the walls of the heart to pump the blood, and you can only find this type of muscle tissue in the heart, and it's kind of so it's half voluntary and it's half involuntary. Okay, because we can modify a little bit if we want the blood, the heart rate, but there are some parts that is subconscious, so we can't control it fully. Okay. And finally, the smooth muscle tissue is a different tissue for involuntary movement, for involuntary organs. For instance, in our digestive tract, when we are doing the digestion, food will move from one part of this digestive tube to another. We can't control this. It's something that happens in a subconscious way. It's involuntary. So for those movements, we use this type of smooth muscle tissue. And finally, the nervous system. The nervous tissue, we have mainly two types of cells. Neurons, okay, with all those branches, and the long part of the neuron will become the nerves. And the head of the body is the part where all the nucleus and organelles will be. You can see them in the slide in here in blue. The intense blue is the head of the neuron, and you can see those ramifications. And around there are some small cells also in blue. They are the glial cells, and the glial cells have supporting functions for the neurons because they are one of the most important cells in our body, because if they don't transfer information, nothing in the body can work. So they have like the supporting cells to help them function properly, and those are the glial cells. They have like nutritional functions for the neurons, defensive immune function for the neurons, and they will help neurons work properly all the time. And that's it. These are all the different types of cells we can find in our body, and the tissues that they do together when they get together, the cells together, the differentiated cells together. So that's it. If you have any doubt, please leave it in a comment, and of course, see you soon.